What's poppin', y'all? Looks like they shut me up quick, and by they I mean Tory Lanez team, because on May 28th, 10:52 a.m., really less than 26 hours, I tweeted out, "Where's the new evidence that was supposed to come out in the Tory Lanez case? I've yet to see anything new. Everything I see is identical to 3 years ago, but the reaction and headlines are the opposite. Fishy." Less than 28 hours later, they dropped the 36hourslater.com, which is supposed to show us this new footage and new evidence. Keep in mind, when I said this was fishy, we hadn't gotten any new evidence yet. And my thing about it being fishy is what has happened and changed for the same information to be told in the same exact way that we had 3+ years ago, but the public narrative to completely shift. And by public narrative, I don't mean us, but I'm talking about you've got congresswomen, you've got powerful people and outlets and journalists and reporters that are looking at this in a different way that was not the case years ago with the same exact information. So what button was pushed? What contact did Tory Lanez make? Who is or who are the powerful entities behind this? And was it Tory Lanez getting stabbed that allowed for them to really start pushing for this? Because they're like, okay, we just had a moment where this guy almost died. I think the people are ready to be sympathetic towards him, because that petition got like over 300,000 signees. You had stars supporting it, and even after Tory Lanez got locked up, you started to see some support from LeBron James. But we're going to get into all of this quote-unquote new evidence, break down this website. They've laid it out very, very nicely, and we're going to see if there's any actual new evidence. So the first thing that they lay out is this fact checklist. Keep in mind, the perspective that we're getting this from is Tory Lanez team. They want to present Tory Lanez as innocent. So he said, Megan told the police and doctors she stepped on glass, not shot. We already know that. Megan Thee Stallion admitted to that. And she said that the only reason she said that was to protect Tory. She was panicking at the moment. That's not new. Video and officers confirm Megan stepped on a glass bottle, not hit by gunfire. We're going to get into this in a second. This is also true, but she could have also been hit by the shrapnel from the guns, because that's what they said at the case. Shawn Kelly, which was the person that was at the home outside of where this happened, testified 2 women fought in the street. One fired first. Tory was still in the car. We didn't hear about that yet. We heard that Tory fired when the guy was on the stand. Kelsey tested positive for gunshot residue. Her DNA was never tested against the gun. I believe this was a part of the case too. We didn't see that. Kelsey received free rent for a year after the shooting. Who paid and why? We thought at the time that Kelsey was being paid, or Kelsey's legal lawyer that she retained was being paid by Tory Lanez. That's what was being spread and propagated. I don't know how true that is, but it would make sense. However, Kelsey receiving free rent for a year, if Tory Lanez's team is presenting this, that means it wasn't Tory Lanez that paid her rent for free for a year. Megan Thee Stallion, clearly they were not messing with each other. Kelsey even dropped a diss song on her, which was quickly scrubbed. So who would pay? Entities that support Megan Thee Stallion. I'm guessing they're alluding to Roc Nation. EJ said an object in the girl's luggage looked like a gun. Megan claims she spoke out in response to Tory, but the timeline proves she went public first. This is true. Megan went on social media first, but that's because she believed that Tory Lanez was going to blogs and narratives were spreading. I don't know if that was the case. It was just people analyzing the situation. We're looking at it like, yo, what the hell happened? Do these guys got problems with people? How are gunshots being fired? How did she step on glass? People are just making their theories on social media, and I guess they weren't favorable towards Megan Thee Stallion. But keep in mind, this is before anybody thought that Tory Lanez was doing something to Megan Thee Stallion. So she did go on social media first, but this isn't anything new. Tory's DNA was not found in the magazine, only 0.01% on the gun, statistically irrelevant. This is also kind of true. We also had this information, and Tory's dad, is it Sunstar? Was it his dad's name? He talked about this. 90% of DNA on the gun belonged to an unknown male, not Tory. I didn't know this. Tory's jail call apology was about the drama of sleeping with 2 friends, not a shooting. Now, Tory's jail call, a lot of people said that made him look guilty or that he was admitting to it. I can see it being interpreting the situation as him being guilty and apologizing. However, it could also be interpreted fairly as him deceiving them, as in, yo, I was messing with both of y'all and I didn't tell y'all, and I'm just sorry that this ended up turning into this chaos where people are getting beat up, shot, helicopters, police officers, bleeding, etc. And then Tory has repeatedly said, I would never do anything like this. Okay, anybody's going to say that. No bullet fragments on x-ray, no nerve damage, fractures, or joint trauma in Megan's medical records. We've gotten that. We've heard this so many different times. Bullet fragments were lost, never presented at trial. This was also a thing, which was very weird and suspicious, but it's not new. Prosecutors misused Tory's rap lyrics, tattoos, and uncharged allegations to sway the jury. I think that's a reach, and I don't know if that was... I don't even remember that being mentioned during the trial. Kelsey's story changed multiple times. She admitted to lying under pressure. We know this is true. And Megan's own timeline and injuries don't match the story of the shooting, which, not too sure about that. So we're going to look into some of the footage here. And the first clip that they put out is Megan Thee Stallion, where she gets on IG Live. So I'm going to play that for you guys right now.
I ain't get cut by no glass, but let me tell you why they saying that.
We all saw this clip, and now they're starting to play some body cam footage that was in the court case in discovery, and we get a couple of different pieces of footage from that night. So I'm going to play each one of those.
Ma'am, do you think we're going to go to jail?
What's that?
Do you think we're going to go to jail?
I don't know. We're trying to figure it all out. As long as you guys cooperate with us and you guys tell us what happened, we'll go accordingly, okay? But if you guys are not telling us, if you guys are, then I don't think...
I really cannot go to jail.
Okay.
I cannot have that on my image.
Okay. So how did that happen to you?
Glass.
Glass? Where?
Where we were coming from.
Hey, can we get a sheet for
I'm not from here, so I...
Okay.
That's the only place you got shot at? That's the only place you got shot?
I didn't get shot.
Oh, you did it?
No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir.
Is the one you called for?
Yeah.
So off rip right here, you see the nervousness in Megan Thee Stallion. She's like, yo, I can't go to jail. Not good for my image. Not good for my image. Megan Thee Stallion, this is post Hot Girl Summer. She was really scorching hot culturally outside of hip hop too. So she could not be seen as a street rapper. She had a lot of endorsements. And by street rapper, I'm saying she couldn't be seen as no like sexy red Glorilla. She had that cleaner image that she was trying to get to the next level. So we know she's already cognizant of what would harm her position in the industry. And she also says that she wasn't shot in this clip. Now, she replies rather quickly, so it doesn't seem like she thought about it. It was like, okay, hold on, I need to say, this is what I need to say, this is what I don't need to say. But this isn't enough to really just go out and say that she didn't get shot.
Any evidence of any shooting or anything? That's how we got dispatched.
Well, we have the gun here, and then we have other units. They're searching the house where it happened, so that's all we have so far.
So nothing happened in the vehicle?
No, we don't have any casings, no.
Okay, from what you've been told.
And then there's some cash over, looks like.
Was the person who got shot with the other people here that you have in handcuffs? Were they all together?
They were all together.
Yes, they were all in the same car.
Okay. And then, do we know how she got cut?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a glass.
She dropped
right
a glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself, getting out of the vehicle.
Okay. So her friends didn't cut her then.
Right.
Well.
So this is the police searching the car, and they're saying that she stepped out and the bottle shattered and she stepped on it. Keep in mind, she was drunk. She was nervous stepping out. She saw helicopters and all that. It's a scary situation to be in, especially drunk and violence and emotional. And she did step on it, or they say that they saw her step on it, the police in this case. But that doesn't mean that she didn't get shot. We have to repeat that. That doesn't mean that.
It's right down the floor.
Rear passengers step out of the vehicle. Let me see your hands. Show us your hands. Come out with your hands up. Okay? Come out, people passenger, with your hands up. Hands up. Alright, move back to the sound of my voice. Keep your hands up. Move back to the sound of my
It's right there on the floor. Mark.
Yeah.
This section, when they're telling them to get out of the car, they're talking about, oh, it's right there on the floor. That's the bottle, which, man, I don't think that much blood is going to come from a cut because her whole foot, you can see the footprint. If it was just like blood from one gash on, like, let's say the heel or the forefoot, I would think that, and this is the thing, is that both her feet? No, it's the same foot. Yeah, it wouldn't create that much of bleeding. It would need to be in multiple different spots. So did she step on multiple glass pieces, or was it just shrapnel from the gunshot residue that spreads, that like it hits the floor and then it hits different parts of her foot? I think that is probably more likely at this point in time, at least.
She cut herself when she stepped out.
There's somebody here saying she cut herself when she stepped out.
Move back inside my voice.
Move back.
Back.
Oh, she cut herself.
And that's another police officer saying, oh, she cut herself. And then Megan Thee Stallion, in that same IG Live that we got a clip from earlier, is calling out that police officer lady who said that, we have to guess, is the one that said that she got cut.
I get to the motherfucking hospital, the police bitch being so rude to me. Well, what's going on? Like, da-da-da-da, you're being detained, da-da-da. Ma'am, I'm being detained, I'm leaking. But I'm still not saying what happened. Shit crazy.
I don't know why this was so important to add in. I think they're just trying to paint the image of Megan Thee Stallion as being, I guess, I don't know, like angry and negative. Let's just say that. But they did put footage from Megan Thee Stallion when she was in the hospital. So she said she didn't get shot at the scene, and then there's footage from her at the hospital and the police lady talking to her, who she just referenced in the clip that I just played you. So now we're going to play the conversation between her and the police officer.
And so what happened with you were just
one bone stepping on glass. I have another cut on my right foot. I just stepped on glass the other day.
So you were already hurt when you got into the room. And then at that point, your friends were running down from the hospital.
Now, this makes a little bit more sense connecting it to the previous frame where I said, yo, it looks like, was this the same foot twice? Because it looked like 2 feet. And here she's saying that she had another cut on her right foot that she stepped on glass the other day. If she was really getting slizzard, like people allege that she was, and getting drunk consistently, then maybe she could have stepped on glass again and what, she didn't get stitches? I don't really understand that. And this is the problem, too, with Megan Thee Stallion. We don't know if she's lying to the police lady here about the cut on the other foot. So was it the shooting? Did it hit both feet that actually happened, or that's the news story? Or did she already have a cut? Like, what's the actual truth with this cut? Because I'm actually concerned with the second foot. Because the testimony and all that is considering 1 foot. But when we see the footage there, it looks like 2 feet right next to each other, and it's the full footprint. It's not like just some blood leaking from, like your heel or your toe. And it had to be a big pool of blood if the whole damn foot is being pressed on there. And then they go on to play another clip of her saying she tried to keep it off the internet. This is just another one of those attempts at them trying to really break down her character and portray her as a liar.
So, since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit. Stop lying. Why lie? I don't understand. I tried to keep the situation off the internet.
So in that clip, yeah, you clearly hear it. She's talking about how, I tried to keep it off the internet, which is up in the air. Like I said, if Tory's team was actually trying to seed a narrative and then she comes online, she was trying to keep it off the internet until that point. But then they say the timeline contradicts Megan's claims. And this is, I'm looking at this, it looks like some court documents where it says nothing negative as this. That's why I didn't want to say anything in the first place. This would have never came out if Tory would have never went to the internet telling everybody his side of the story. Terrible, because I didn't want to say anything in the first place. So not only did I not say anything, but now you want to get ahead of it and make yourself look like some type of victim. This is actually a Q&A. Why did you not want to say anything in the first place? Objection. I think we covered that. What was your plan when this first happened as to what you would say? Yeah, this was actually court. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want it to go anywhere. I'm embarrassed. I know you told the police that you stepped on broken glass. About 4 days later, did you come forward to the police and tell them who shot you? Yes. Was that to a detective? Yes. In those 4 days, what brought about the change of heart? I had a change of heart because I saw online that he had tried to start getting ahead of the story and put it on a bunch of different narratives about what happened. And she's saying that this was her reaction to it. But what they are saying is that Megan posted about being shot first on July 15th, and Daystar, in this case Tory Lanez, didn't tweet until September 24th. But this was just the announcement for his album. This had been cycling for months, and Tory Lanez's team was doing behind-the-scenes stuff. Maybe not in the first couple of days when Megan Thee Stallion first put this out, but in those months, yeah, you can bet that people on Tory's team and close to him were letting blogs know, like, yo, you got to hear this, and this isn't what it's being presented as. So this whole, like, Tory was just silent and nothing was happening on his behalf, and Megan was just going off the deep end for months. I'm not buying that, and that's not what happened. And I remember what happened. I was there, and I was covering this. Next, they present a clip from the Gayle King interview, which I got to play you guys because in hindsight, this is hilarious.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
It shouldn't have escalated to the way that it did.
So I get out the car, and it's like everything happens so fast. Yes. And all I hear is this man screaming. He said, dance. And he started shooting. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, he shot a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Yo, listening to this, you realize Megan Thee Stallion just told like 2, 3, 4. Basically, she was eligible to get a nuke off that. Like, she aced the opposite team. It was like a pentakill with how many lies she just dropped on top of her. I never got loud. I've never put my hands on nobody. She did all those things and more. So here it says evidence says otherwise. Megan and Kelsey had a physical altercation. So we may have to blur some of these things, but you see scratches across Kelsey's legs, which might be Megan Thee Stallion's nails. You see a knot on top of Kelsey's forehead, which, oof. And then they present Megan's song lyrics from Shots Fired, which I'm not even going to address. Because, listen, it's song lyrics. And these are the same people that's saying, yo, the attorneys or the prosecutors were trying to use Tory's song lyrics against him. So I'm not going to go hop in here and start using Megan's song lyrics against her. Like, come on now. And then in that same IG Live from the beginning, Megan Thee Stallion's talking about there being a witness.
The people in the neighborhood, there's a witness. When the police came, because the neighbors called the police.
So the witness there is Shawn Kelly, and we finally get some footage of Shawn Kelly. And what a lot of people believe sunk Tory Lanez in that trial was Shawn Kelly's testimony. Because in the transcript, he said the following. They asked him, and what did you see next, sir? They were fighting. They had started fighting. The two girls? Yes. So he is saying that Megan Thee Stallion and Kelsey were fighting. So that's another lie tacked onto the Gayle King. She was saying she never put her hands on nobody. She did. And when you say the two girls were fighting, could you describe to the jury what you observed? What they were doing and what they were fighting about? Not about, but how were they fighting? They were pulling their hair and hitting each other, and it was quite violent. This is initially when you still only see the two girls, correct? Yes, so these two girls are fighting on their own. And what happened at this point? They were fighting for a while because I told my son to come into my room, and I asked him to get into my bed, and then they were still fighting. They was all bent over, sort of wrapped in each other, fighting. And then you get this footage from the body cam.
Wait.
No, it didn't. No?
They shot out of the car?
The windows were open, that's why it sounded like either way. Yeah,
no, they were on my side. The girl opened the door. There was two girls fighting, and
then they shot.
Okay.
She got out of the car and crawled over.
So here they said 2 girls fighting and then they shot. But we don't know who shot. Was it the 2 girls? Who's the they that he's talking about? But in his testimony, he said, you state initially you saw the 2 girls fighting when he first talked to the police. And he says, I did, yes. And did you say that after you saw the 2 girls fighting, you saw one of the girls shoot? He says, I believe so, but... And then they said, thereafter, did you say that the shorter guy got involved at that point, trying to take the gun away? And then they did an objection on that. And then they said, is that what you said? And he said, yeah. And then we get a statement. We get the full statement from him in audio. Not the full statement, but we get a longer statement. So I'm going to play that for you guys in full.
The doors of the Escalade open and the girl come out and pull open the passenger door and started screaming and yelling at somebody in the car.
So the girl who came out of the passenger, you're talking about the front passenger?
No, the rear.
The rear passenger. So the girl comes out of the rear passenger and she goes to the front passenger?
Yes.
And she opens up the car door?
Yes.
And then what happens?
They're screaming and shouting at each other and they start fighting.
The 2 girls?
Yeah, I can see one like feet coming out trying to kick her and the other one's fighting and then the passenger gets out.
So the girl who does the punching and the kicking is the girl that comes out of the back passenger?
Can we stop there? Because I don't want to. I'll tell you, and then I want to go. My son's on his own.
Yeah, I understand. And it's loud with the cars.
And I don't really want to. So basically, the car stopped. The girl in the back got out, started screaming and shouting, ripped the door, pulled the door open, but pulled it so sort of viciously. That's why I presume the driver got out. She starts screaming. She starts hitting the girl. The girl on the side, her feet come out. She starts to kick the girl away. Passenger, they get out, they start fighting here, they start fighting, the driver comes round and tries to sort of break it up, it gets a bit more violent, and between them, the girl then climbs back into the front driver passenger seat.
Where's the shorter black guy?
He's in the back.
He's in the back of the car? Okay.
So in this first clip, he's talking about... Tory Lanez is in the car this whole time. What I want to know is who's the one that's kicking? Is that Megan Thee Stallion with the hooves that they allege that she has? Or is that Kelsey that's kicking? Like, who got out and initiated the violence? My presumption is that it was Kelsey that started the violence, and then Megan started kicking her because Kelsey discovers that night that Megan Thee Stallion was getting with Tory Lanez. But onto this next clip where they talk about the shooting, Shawn Kelly.
Then the gun, then the girl shoots into her. So the driver's door's open.
You're seeing the girl shoot?
Can I help you? I think, is it this house?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So you see the girl doing the shooting?
I see what appears to be the girl standing here and shooting into the car. That's what it looked like to me. But it was dark, and I'm above, so... But then the guy gets out again from the back.
So this guy, I mean, the testimony is kind of shaky here when he's talking to the police officer. He's like, yeah, I see the girl, and she's shooting in the back, and then... this cuts off. So when this cuts off, it's like, yo, what's going on here? We need to see this guy's whole footage. Now, you get to see, they're talking about Kelsey Harris's testimony being inconsistent. A lot of this, none of the rest of this stuff is really new. The only new stuff we got was some of this footage. And then, of course, the Gayle King clip where Megan Thee Stallion, I'm going to play you guys that clip, where she says he's standing over the window shooting.
In the car, shooting from the car, Megan?
He is standing up over the window, shooting.
Yeah, so that one, and then they try to use the DNA argument, which, man, I don't really know. Now, of course, the whole dance B thing, we know that never happened. That was cap.
And all I hear is this man screaming. He said, dance.
And then there's a video clip when the shooting happens. So I'm going to play you guys that one. So here you see you hear the shots fired, like 5 of them, and it's really hard to hear a voice, but it's like a pause after 3 shots. That's the thing too. Like there's this pause, and then maybe that's when Tory was trying to grab it. Not really sure there. And then there's also the fragments that went missing, but none of this stuff is new. All of this stuff has consistently been presented. I'm really only here to talk about what is new. And what is new is this body cam footage to us, at the very least. And there's the body cam footage after the arrest where it shows Tory Lanez was clearly trying to make sure Megan Thee Stallion was taken care of. And I think he was referring to her as his girlfriend in this initial clip.
Address that the incident occurred, the shooting happened?
Nah, I don't know the address, bro. I was just trying to help my girlfriend. 1 second, bro.
Stay right here for me, bro.
Mego.
Hey, we got an ambulance coming for her, okay? Hey, bro, step up right here. We got an ambulance coming for her, all right?
Just a quick question.
It's gonna be good.
Do you have any injuries on you?
No, I don't.
Do you need an RN?
Sure. I got come for your friend now, okay?
And then there's a short clip with Tory Lanez at the police station where he's refusing to really say anything.
Do you want to talk about what happened tonight? Your girl to safety?
And he's keeping it solid, which didn't work out too hot. And then they try to clarify Tory Lanez' apology and how it was misinterpreted, and people thought that he was saying that he was guilty and he actually shot her. And then, of course, the medical fact. I mean, this whole medical thing was really, really odd because they present this here and they said the doctor on July 20th described the injury as a laceration from broken glass. There's no mention of gunshot wounds, fragments, or ballistic trauma. He also described Megan as pleasant in no acute distress. And then there's another doctor diagnosed bilateral gunshot wounds based on imaging. He removed 3 small fragments under general anesthesia and called wounds superficial, yet performed surgery. Claimed fragments were bagged and given to police. And then the next day, the plastic surgeon described wounds as superficial and cleanly closed. X-ray showed no fractures, minimal residue shrapnel. Dr. Howell treated for cellulitis and infection and discharged without mention of ballistic trauma. However, we're not saying that Megan Thee Stallion actually got the bullet. Like, it could have just scratched her. That's the thing. And what are they trying to present? That Megan Thee Stallion wasn't shot at? She wasn't shot? What's the deal here? So this whole medical thing has always confused me. I'm kind of skipping over this. We just want to know what happened with that gun. We want to know whose gun was whose hands were on the gun, who fired first. For sure, who fired first? Was it Tory that just whipped it out and started firing? Was it Kelsey that started firing? And we still haven't got these answers. Now, Shawn Kelly, what we got from him, it seems like he was saying, like, yeah, one of the women was firing the gun. But we need the complete footage. And I understand that they're presenting this for anybody that has anything questions about the Tory case. They're going to present this. So you could just go through it. It's short. You don't have to do a lot of due diligence into looking through the whole footage. But for it to actually be fair, we need the whole body cam footage of what Shawn Kelly said. Because that guy, really, it ended up screwing Tory Lanez. And this also I think this will just go back into people telling Tory, like, yo, why didn't you just get on the stand and say what happened? And Kelsey, she might be in trouble, man. And I do believe that Tory Lanez thought he could beat this and decided to protect Kelsey. Like, some people will say that's dumb, me being one of those people. However, hey, man, people have made dumb decisions in the past. And he thought he could beat it. Now, if you told him, like, hey, you're going to get 10 years or Kelsey's going to be free, I think he probably would have thought it over. But you don't know at that point. Now, you're taking a shot in the dark. And the way Tory was talking and how confident he was, him and his father, it seemed like they thought it was enough. They had enough to beat this. But I think this will get ripped apart again, or attempted to get ripped apart by Alex Spiro, Rock Nation, and Megan's team. Megan Thee Stallion needs to shut up, though. She cannot speak right now. She should not speak. You do not need to speak. You don't need to say anything. Anything you say will make you look bad. She needs to let her team handle this. And the easiest way is for them to goad the guys and gals that are working on this project 36 hours later and the Innocence Project with Tory to release the entire footage. Or they could release the entire footage themselves. But I'm not sure that they're going to do that because this guy's testimony does tell a different story. I just think that Tory Lanez getting stabbed is the momentum, for lack of a better word, honestly, and it is sad that he needed for a lot more attention to get put on this. And potentially, do I think a pardon will happen? I don't know. It would have to be Gavin Newsom, like we've all heard. But I still don't have my answers. And my answers is the same answers as the majority of us that have been quite impartial in this situation is, when is the mystery going to be over? When do we know what happened? I feel like we all know what happened. Like, we have an image of what happened. We're like, man, Kelsey aimed at her. She was drunk. She was pissed. And Tory's like, yo, what the hell's going on? And then he tries to stop the situation. That's what we believe happened. However, will we ever know that that's what happened? And I talked about this when the case first closed. I was like, man, the saddest thing about this is it feels like we will never know what happened. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Is this like new, groundbreaking for you? Or do you think you need more body cam footage? Or what's the deal here? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.